तो हम आ चुके हैं लाइव स्ट्रीम में। आज है डे 8। तो हमारा टारगेट है इसमें एंडर पर्ल्स लेने का। एंडर पर्ल्स के बाद हम जाएंगे सीधा एंड पोर्टल ढूंढने, बाय हुक और बाय क्रूक। अरे यार ऐसे गंवार क्यों बोल रहे हो? मैं हर्ट हो गया। नहीं तो क्या इतनी प्यारी माँ ऐसी सी गंदी गंदी बातें करेगी? देखते अभी तक तो कोई आया नहीं है। मेरे पीछे कुछ सुअर पड़ गए। नूब अकेले आ रहा था बेचारा, मेरे को मारने खुद मर गया। तो जाएंगे या फिर एक्सप्लोर। मैंने क्या कर दिया अब इसके साथ? तो आज हम नेदर एक्सप्लोर। अरे भाई अपने बेड के तोड़ दिया मैंने। बेड नहीं तोड़ने का रे बाबा। रीस्पॉन पॉइंट सेट, चलो बढ़िया। चलो 3 लोग आ चुके हैं। वेलकम गाइस टू दिस लाइव स्ट्रीम। ऑल राइट। हेलो, क्या हाल चाल है? आज हमारा मकसद है कि हमें नेदर एक्सप्लोर मारना है, भले कुछ भी हो जाए। भाई आप पूछ रहे हो कि बता रहे हो कि आपने सब्सक्राइब किया है कि नहीं? भाई अगर नहीं किया सब्सक्राइब तो सब्सक्राइब कर देना। ये वाइन्स बहुत काम की है, एमएलजी में वो उसमें काम आते हैं ऊंचाई से बचने के लिए। चलो आगे देखते क्या होता है। मैं ये बात के लिए क्यूरियस हूँ कि आगे क्या क्या मिल सकता है। बैस्टन मिले एंड ऑफ कोर्स मुझे अभी से ही कूटा जा रहा है। मामला थोड़ा गंभीर है क्योंकि वो अभी जस्ट डिसअपियर हो गई मेरे सामने, लिटरली डीस्पॉन्ड, नो इंटरेस्ट। पहले मार दिया, फिर उसके बाद क्या कहता है, डीस्पॉन हो गई। बहुत बढ़िया। ओके, मुझे नीचे जाना है मेन ये। अरे 3 बंदों ने लाइक कर दिया। दोस्त पीपल हु लाइक्ड माई स्ट्रीम, थैंक यू सो मच। मुझे भी छुप के रहना पड़ेगा, ये ना मेरी हेल्थ फुल है और ना भी कुछ सही चल रहा है अभी माइनक्राफ्ट में। ना मैंने एक्सप्लोर किया, और एक तो भाई साहब वो भी है ना दिक्कत, एमएलजी कर नहीं पाऊंगा। एक ब्लॉक मिस प्लेस हुआ, मैं गया, तो वह वो बात की सिचुएशन है। आई मीन सिचुएशन का प्रॉब्लम है मेन तो। ओके, आई होप तुम सबको आवाज़ आ रही होगी। 3 बंदों ने लाइक कर दिया वैसे तो, जो कि अच्छा रिस्पॉन्स है काइंड ऑफ। ओह कम ऑन, लाइक जेन्युइनली। हेलो, क्या हाल चाल है? वेलकम टू द स्ट्रीम, वेलकम टू द स्ट्रीम। आई सब, थैंक यू फॉर सब्सक्राइबिंग। हेलो, ये सब मारने ही लग रहे भाई साधे तो ये घास। हेलो हेलो हेलो, वेलकम टू द स्ट्रीम। ऐसे क्यों लग रहा है कोई पीछा कर रहा है मेरा? अरे भाई, रैपिडो का क्यों आ रहा है? हाय। अच्छा हाँ, आपस आपस में भी बात कर सकते हो तुम लोग। बढ़िया इंटरेक्शन, बढ़िया चलता रहेगा। ओके, तो यहाँ से जाना था यहाँ पर। ऑफ कोर्स, ये एक को तो टांग अड़ानी होती है। लास्ट टाइम तो हद ही पार हो गई थी। मैं मिड एयर में मुझे मार दिया। लाइक व्हेन आई वाज इन मिड एयर मुझे तब मार दिया। ओ हाँ, मैंने रियलाइज़ नहीं किया, मेरे पास इतने हो गए। थैंक यू सो मच। भाई मुझे अभी से मारना चालू कर रहे थे यार। चार लाइक्स हो चुके हैं, वाह। वंस फुल हेल्थ हो जाएगी मैं नीचे दौड़ूंगा सीधा। और आर्मर मेरा कितना हो रहा, अरे भाई साहब आर्मर के तो लगे ही पड़े हैं। ओके नाउ लेट्स गो। ओके फाइनली एमएलजी काम करेगा, यस फाइनली मैं कैन गो एटलीस्ट। अब देखते क्या क्या मिलता है मुझे यहाँ पर। या तो एक नया फोर्ट्रेस, या तो एक बैस्टन, या तो डिसअपॉइंटमेंट। ये तीनों में से एक चीज़ मिलेगी अब मेरे को। आई एम गोना वॉच समथिंग एज, अरे नो। चलो कोई बात नहीं। अच्छा बाय द वे हेलो द पर्सन जिसने भी कहा ना ये है, तो हाँ हेलो, वेलकम टू द स्ट्रीम। एंड या इट्स ओके इफ यू फाइंड इट बोरिंग यू कैन लीव। आर यू सी ओके सो अब क्या, अब है भाई साहब यहाँ पे तो पूरे सूअरों की वो लगी है फौज। ये तो ऐसे ही मार देंगे मुझे। खाना खा लेते एप्पल को। यार ज़ीरो हो गए। मैं ना थोड़े ब्लॉक्स माइन कर लेता हूँ, एटलीस्ट वो रहेगा ना बिल्डिंग के लिए बढ़िया रहेगा। हाइप ना स्टार्टिंग में बढ़ती है ऐसे ना, पता नहीं क्या है। स्टार्टिंग में बढ़ने लग जाता फिर एकदम कम हो जाता है। बस थोड़ा और दूर। मुझे लगा मेरे पीछे पड़ रहा है। देख तो आगे क्या है, आगे कुछ नहीं है। कुछ नहीं है, हाँ कुछ नहीं है। अरे भाई, अरे वेलकम टू द स्ट्रीम। यू कैन interact with the chat. I mean, if you want to interact with me, you can type in the chat hello or hi. Or you want to ask any questions, you can ask. Okay, yeah. Damn it. Okay, welcome to the stream. No, 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 no. Oh my goodness. The whole village is on chaos. And where is the iron golem? Where is it? Where is it? That block of iron is just lacking of watching farms. Dude, your people are dying literally. You swore to protect them and now you aren't doing shit. You're not doing anything. Just watching. He's not even looking at the villagers. Damn. That's messed up. Going down, okay, I need to go to sleep. But how the hell he was still alive if it's still going to if it's still evening. Like the zombies life for so long. What? What? What the heck? No. No more dogs? Hey buddy, I'm gonna feed you. Okay, let's see, Mr. Villager, what are you trading? You're trading. ओके, अब ना मैं एंडर में नहीं मारूंगा क्योंकि अब कोई फ़ायदा नहीं है ज़्यादा एक्सप्लोर मारने का। मरना मुझे वैसे भी, और हार्डली 2 दिन बचे मेरे पास। So let's go and kill some endermans. Why? Because yeah. Damn it. Yeah, I'm in hell. Literal hell of the Minecraft. Everything is hostile or neutral, not totally peaceful. Like there are swamps of the group of Enderman, group of zombified piglin. One touch, one touch to them can trigger a whole family of them and beat the hell out of me. Now guess what I'm gonna do now? I'm gonna trigger them in the worst way possible. Where's my base? Guess I have lost my base or something. यहाँ पे देख तो यार। हाँ ठीक है, आधा घंटा दोगे मेरे को? आधे घंटे में आता हूँ मैं। लेट्स ट्रिगर सम एंडमेंट्स। वो पहले ट्रिगर हो गया, उसको ज़रूरत भी नहीं है इनका नहीं कुछ कर, वो पहले ट्रिगर हो चुके हैं। हे हे अंडरपेड लेबर। हाँ 30 मिनट में बोला था ना। ऑलराइट। घूमने जा रहे हो क्या आप? घूमने जाओगे आप? पूछ लिया ऐसे ही। September was when Wes walked up to me on my first day and put his arm around my shoulder. Wes told that story every time he introduced me. I found this kid. Hello, can anyone hear me? On the biggest senior in school, and he am I audible now? For me after school to beat me up, so I was trying to get detention to avoid him. The water bottle cracked Miss Okafor in her back, and she spun around. Oh my God! I braced for screaming in detention, but she shook my hand. Thank you so much. That popped my hip back into place. I haven't felt it pain-free in years. She walked off smiling, and when I looked over, Brad was looking at me, clutching his knuckles. When I saw the principal round the corner, I tried pulling the fire alarm. He looked at my hand on the lever. Did you set this off? I said yes, thinking this was definitely detention, but he grabbed my shoulders. You're a hero, son. The toaster in the teacher's lounge is on fire. We need to evacuate. The whole school instantly spilled onto the campus, and Brad walked over next to me. At 3 o'clock, I'm bringing a knife. My hands shook in fear and frustration because how hard was it to get detention? We started walking back inside because the building was safe, and that's when I started to leg out. My teacher faced planted in front of our whole class, then looked right at me. After homework, I grabbed my head and threw my arms in the air. फिर मैं सार ले रहा हूँ instead, but she crossed her arms. No Brad wants to whoop your awe, and I'm not gonna stop him because that's what a delinquent
delinquent like you needs. I stared in disbelief as Brad chuckled behind me. 2 hours later, the bell rang, and I walked to the bike rack, legs shaking. I tried to grab my bike and just hurry off, but Brad turned the corner, smiling. He walked
गाइस
straight
ऐसा
towards
तुम
me,
खाने
grinning,
में क्या
and
खा
I
रहे हो?
raised my trembling fists, ready to fight. That's when a teacher came sprinting. He stepped in front of Brad. What did I tell you? You have detention with me today. Let's go. Brad's jaw went tight, and he followed him inside, locking eyes with me the whole way. I watched Brad sit down in detention, and my stomach went cold. If my plan to get detention worked, I'd be locked in with Brad right now. I pulled a metal water bottle from my bag.
This mod removes everything but structures from Minecraft. Yeah, honestly, I don't know what I was expecting. I guess I have a lot of wood and nothing else. What's in here? Oh, rails and lapis. Wow. Yeah, I can get wood. That's all I
Hello,
can do.
welcome to the
I didn't
stream.
need that block anyways. I didn't want that one. Okay, what's left? Oh, there's a chest over there. If my intuition is correct, it's gonna be more BS. I don't want or need. I can't help myself though. I have to know. I'm a gambler at heart. Give me something good. Oh, a pickaxe. I could mine diamonds with those if they existed anywhere. And a bunch more useless nonsense. Wooden axe. I'm moving up in the world. Look at me go. Oh no way, there's a witch's hut. Do I even want to go up there? Realistically, what's gonna happen when I go up there? I'm just gonna get splashed with poison. I did just kind of get a funny idea. Okay, wait. Please give me the payoff. I need the payoff. Yes. Oh my god, it was all worth it. You're the witch's cat, which means you're bad and evil. No, Joey, don't kill the cat. I'm not gonna
The
lie.
person who is
I've been
watching
around
right now,
the,
can you
the
say
new
hi
structure
or
looks pretty questionable.
wanna tell something
Alright, here we
about
are
you?
in the villager curing station. It's kind of funny how easily this is how you cure the villager can be misinterpreted as release the bloodthirsty monster into this guy's enclosure. It's literally 2 arrows. It's not like they left you much instruction. Alright, well,
Oh, there are 4 people now. Welcome to the
there's a
stream.
ruined portal right here. Wait! Oh my gosh, light bulbs are going off. Is there a chest? Please. There's always a chest. Yes, there's a chest. Oh, there's iron. Oh my gosh, it's all coming together. If I grab some of this.
Oh,
Yes!
oh my god.
Oh my gosh, finally! I just now get Stone Age. I really hope this is enough. I'm trying to make it to the locals.
I accidentally hit my dog.
Community outreach, so to speak. Hey, what's up, guys? I'm your new neighbor. I just moved in. Is anyone home? No? Just me? Hello? Hello? Dude, where is everyone? Did they all fall in the... Oh, what? What kind of row your boat type BS is this? What about you guys? You guys doing anything cool over here?
Okay, there's
you guys
one
both got
person
eye
again.
patches. You gotta be. These are not bad traits at all. I might actually let these guys live. Oh, wait, are those diamonds down there? Oh. Oh, check this out. This is gonna be so sick. Oh, this is gonna be so sick. Hold on. Get the cameras ready. It's the most impressive thing Joey Sam has ever done in Minecraft. Oh my god! I almost jumped off. I don't care. I win. I don't care. This mod removes everything but structures from Minecraft. Yeah, honestly, I don't know what I was expecting. I guess I have a lot of wood.
Hello, welcome to the stream.
Hey there, how are you doing? Hey there, how are you doing?
Fuck you!
Hey there, how are you doing? Hey there, how are you doing?
Fuck you!
Thank you for liking the
Hey,
stream.
what's your Discord? We can go on an e-date, my good little kitten. Whoa, I've never even seen a girl in real life. I didn't even know there were real. Hey, what's going on? I like to think I'm pretty normal. Sorry about the stench.
I got a dislike.
5 months.
Hey there, how are you doing? Hey there, how are you doing?
I shoveled my 61st donut into my mouth, fighting the urge to get sick. And when I looked over, my opponent was already swallowing donut number 70. I'd entered the annual donut eating contest because the winner got...
Guys, I wanna ask you a
and I
question.
needed that money to afford my daughter's cancer surgery to save her life. She was front row...
Are you ready?
On like I was her donut eating hero, but 60 Boston creams had me questioning if her surgery was actually even worth it. I picked up my 60-second donut wanting to cry because I needed to reach 100 to win when something from the crowd caught my eye. My opponent's kid was pointing and laughing at my daughter's bald head, screaming that her dad was a loser while she tried covering her head with tears in her eyes. My fists clenched under the table and we made eye contact, but I knew screaming at him wasn't going to save her. Eating donuts was. So I closed my eyes and started shuffling. The crowd's jaws dropped as I stuffed
Okay.
She barely had the strength to hold it up, but she was trying for me anyway, and I realized I needed to try for her too. So while my opponent laughed and ate slowly, I grabbed the next donut and shoved. The next 2 minutes can only be described as peak athletic human
Okay.
performance. And as I stuffed the very last donut into my mouth, my opponent gripped his head, realizing what was happening. I swallowed, and the judge immediately grabbed my wrist and threw
Guys,
me
do you know
again.
the
I
easy way
broke
to
down
beat
crying as
Ender
the
Dragon?
$20,000 check was handed to me, and my daughter crashed into my arms, screaming, "You did it,
Does
kid!"
anyone
I
of
hugged her
you
tight.
know
No,
about
kiddo,
it?
we did
So
it, but
you
then I
can
felt
tell
my
me.
stomach turning as I sent the 100 Boston creams all over my opponent. I shoveled my 61st donut into my mouth, fighting. I shoveled my
1926 just got even crazier, part 1. So we have just received footage of a new royal baby. Her name is Princess Elizabeth, and she's currently far from the throne. But some believe we could be looking at a future Queen of England, but only time will tell. Next, a new book has just been published. It's called Winnie the Pooh, and it's about a honey-loving bear and his friends. But I mean, I couldn't imagine a talking bear obsessed with honey ever becoming that famous. Finally, we are now seeing the first demonstration of something known as a television that supposedly transmits moving images on this box. Yeah, it's pretty much like a radio with sight, but I don't think this is actually too real. 1926 just got even crazier, part 1. So we have just received footage of a new royal baby. Her
Alright.
name is Princess Elizabeth.
Okay, just in case you are wondering why I'm
I shoveled
standing
my 61st
still,
donut.
so I am actually eating dinner. So yeah, and my brother is watching his story.
I just.
Man,
I shot it. The ankle monitor beeped when I walked through the school door. The ankle monitor beeped when I walked through the school doors, and every head in the hallway turned like I'd set off a car alarm with my leg. I pulled my jeans down over the bulge, but you could still see the outline. This black plastic lump strapped to my ankle that announced me to every room I entered. A girl at the lockers pulled her backpack closer when I walked past. A freshman stepped out of my path so fast he tripped over his own feet. I wanted to say, relax, it's an ankle monitor, not a grenade, but nobody at this school was interested in my sense of humor anymore. The vice principal caught me outside first period and pulled me aside with his hand on my shoulder like we were friends. I want to remind you that your privilege of attending school can be revoked at any time based on behavioral review. 5 days until the hearing that decided whether the monitor stayed or came off. And this man was reminding me that even being here was a gift I could lose. I nodded because nodding was all I did now. And he walked away
Title
looking
क्या?
satisfied. And my dad came around the corner 30 seconds later because he'd been listening from the parking lot. Dad walked straight into the VP's office, and I watched through the glass as he got in the man's face with his finger pointed at his chest. My son made a mistake, and he's serving his sentence. He walks through those doors every morning, knowing every person in this building is staring at his ankle, and he does it anyway, and you don't get to punish him twice. The VP said something I couldn't hear, and my dad leaned closer and said something back, and the VP sat down. Dad came out and squeezed my shoulder. Nobody messes with my kid. I leaned into his hand because that shoulder squeeze was the only thing that made this school bearable. We walked to the parking lot together, and a woman was standing next to our car. She was shaking, holding a photograph, and when she saw me, she charged. She shoved the photo into my chest so hard the corners bent. You hit my daughter with your car and drove away, and she spent 3 weeks in the hospital. My dad stepped between us with his hands up. Ma'am, this isn't the place. Don't you tell me where the place is. My daughter can't run anymore because of your son. Behind her, leaning against a car with a permanent limp that made her shift her weight every few seconds, was a girl my age. She used to run track. She would never run again. She looked at me, and her eyes moved from my face to my ankle to my face again, like the pieces vehicle in a hit and run on March 14th. She sustained a shattered kneecap, a fractured pelvis, and nerve damage in her right leg. Nessa was a varsity track athlete. Doctors say she will never run competitively again. I read the brochure and my hands shook because these were injuries I was convicted of causing, and every person in this cafeteria believed I was the reason this girl couldn't run. I named the ankle monitor Gerald because Gerald was going to be with me for at least 5 more days, and we might as well be on a first-name basis. I grabbed a brownie from the bake sale table and pulled $1 out of my pocket because I wanted to support her, even if nobody would believe that's why. A girl behind the register stared at my hand holding the dollar and then stared at Gerald on my ankle and said, "Haven't you done enough?" Loud enough for the tables nearby to hear. Heads turned and someone whispered, and a kid at the next table stood up. I put the dollar on the table, said, "Keep the change," took the brownie, and walked to an empty table in the back. I sat down with the Support Nessa brochure in front of me and a room full of people who wanted me dead. Across the cafeteria, a girl shifted in her seat every few seconds, adjusting her weight like she couldn't get comfortable. Nessa, the girl from the posters, the girl Gerald said I hurt. She was 15 feet away eating lunch with one hand because the other was bracing her bad leg under the table, and she looked at me holding my brownie from her bake sale, and her expression wasn't hatred, it was something more complicated. That night, I walked the perimeter of my boundary in the backyard, counting steps the way I did every evening, testing where Gerald started his warning buzz. 30 steps from the back door to the warning zone, where the monitor hummed against my ankle like a wasp trapped in a jar. 40 steps to the trigger line, where the hum became a scream, and the monitoring company would dispatch police. I walked the edge and let the memories come with each lap. Toward the boundary, red and blue lights through my bedroom window, waking me up, my heart slamming before I even knew why. Back toward the house, cops at the front door.
भाई ये दो बंदे हैं ना अभी यहाँ पर भाई. थैंक यू सो मच फॉर स्टेइंग हियर.
Already dressed.
I really appreciate it. And if you liked my previous stream, so yeah, make sure to like and subscribe.
And glass on the asphalt, and a cop shining a flashlight on the damage. Back toward the house, my dad behind me, with his hand on my shoulder, squeezing, leaning close to my ear, while the cop wrote in his notebook. He must have taken the car out. He's been sneaking out at night. I didn't say anything because I was confused and scared, and my dad's hand was squeezing harder.
And yeah, one more thing.
And I'll fix this. I promise.
Make sure to hit the bell notification so that whenever I stream, you will be notified.
To my ankle. It's just temporary. We'll get through this together. His thumb rubbed circles on the back of my hand while they tightened the strap, and the gratitude almost knocked me over because I wasn't alone. I walked back to the house with Gerald buzzing on my ankle and sat on the back step and stared at the 40 steps between me and the rest of the world. It was just the two of us. Mom left when I was 7, and Dad raised me alone. He came home the next night, and we rebuilt the bookshelf in the living room that had been falling apart for months. Him holding boards while I hammered, passing tools back and forth with the rhythm of two people who'd been a team their whole lives. He made a terrible pun about Gerald. At least Gerald keeps you honest. You'll never lose a game of hide and seek. I threw a wood chip at his head. We laughed. For a few minutes, the monitor was quiet. The nail went in straight, and my dad grinned at me across the board he was holding. The victim's mother came to my house with 4 days to the hearing. She was on the porch screaming while neighbors watched from their yards, and my dad came outside with his hands up trying to calm her down. She pointed at me through the screen door. A grown man. The driver was a grown man, not a teenager. He had a beard and a tattoo on his right forearm. Your son doesn't even match what I saw. Dad ushered her off the porch with his calm voice. He closed the front door and turned to me. She's grieving. Ignore it. I looked at his arm, at the long sleeves he always wore, even in summer, even rebuilding the bookshelf. My stomach clenched, and I shoved the thought away because it was insane. It was insane. My dad was the person who held my hand at the monitoring office and defended me to the VP and threw wood chips at my head. But the woman's voice kept echoing. Grown man, beard, tattoo on his right forearm. I looked at my dad's sleeves, and my hands started shaking. And I
By the way,
shoved them in
guys,
my pockets so he wouldn't
what do you
see.
say?
Dad fell asleep on the
What
couch
should I
3
name
days
my
before the hearing
3
after dinner,
wolves
and I knelt beside him and
in
carefully
Minecraft?
rolled up his right sleeve. The tattoo was dark and old and covered his forearm from wrist to elbow, and my breath left my body like I'd been punched in the stomach. I pressed my hand over my mouth to keep from making a sound because my dad was asleep 3 feet away, and the man I loved most in the world had let me wear an ankle monitor for 6 months for something he did. I sat on the floor next to my sleeping father, and my hand hovered over the fabric because part of me wanted to pull the sleeve back down and unknow this. The dad who made puns about Gerald and defended me to the
ऊपर दे रखी देखिए टाइम
The
कितना
house was
कितना है
quiet,
टाइम
and
का.
Gerald hummed green on my ankle. This moment was the last second of the life I knew, because once I let go of the fabric, the dad who built bookshelves and threw wood chips would be gone forever. I thought about Nessa in the cafeteria, shifting her weight on a leg that would never carry her the way it used to. And I pulled my hand back, and the sleeve stayed up, and the tattoo stared at me in the dark. The next morning, I stood in the kitchen doorway and said, "Show me your arm, Dad." The warmth left his face like someone had pulled a plug. He crossed the kitchen in 3 steps and grabbed my wrist and pinned me against the wall so hard the back of my head hit the cabinet. "You're going to keep your mouth shut. A third conviction puts me away for 25 years. Your mother left. You think you survive alone. I'm wearing an ankle monitor for something you did. And in 2 days, a judge is going to take it off, and this will be over. All you have to do is sit there and say, 'You're sorry.' And if I don't, then the monitor stays. Then they upgrade it to GPS. Then they put you in a juvenile facility, and your record follows you for the rest of your life. And no college, no job, no apartment will touch you." He let go and stepped back, and I slid
Alright.
down the wall to the floor, and my vision blurred because I was crying, which I hadn't done since the day they put Gerald on my ankle. I looked up at a stranger wearing my dad's face. The hands that squeezed my shoulder after the VP's office. The ones that held mine while they strapped.
आज अपना यार चिराग नहीं आया. क्या बात है. कितना टाइम होगा. अरे भाई सब क्या यार. 43 हो गए हैं मिनट्स स्ट्रीम को एक्ट ऑन हुए. अभी तक चिराग नहीं आया. मेरे पढ़ रहा होगा.
Gerald on. Those hands had just pinned me to a wall. Those hands were the reason the monitor was on my leg. I wiped my face with my shirt and tasted salt and sat there on the kitchen floor with my back against the cabinet and my whole body shaking because the only person I had in the world was gone and he was standing right in front of me.
बस खाना हो गया मेरा.
Brushing alone isn't enough, which is when I started using this Listerine mouthwash after brushing because so many tiny food particles would get stuck in the teeth and brushing would not be able to reach those areas. Also removes germs,
I'll be back.
super clean and has a mild taste, easy to use. Trust me, all you need to do is brush, swish and complete your oral care routine. Next, ये fridge लेके. तो बताना ही भूल गई. मम्मी पापा अब हमारे साथ रहेंगे.
ये पोछा का है.
जब घर बनेगा ट्रोमा से.
Front of me. With 2 days left, I found Nessa at the edge of the school property, where the boundary line ran under a chain link fence. I stood with one foot on each side, Gerald buzzing on the warning side, and she walked up behind me. My mom described the driver to the cops 3 times. Grown man, beard, tattoo on his right forearm. They ignored her every time because you already confessed. I didn't confess. They told me I did it, and I was too confused to say no. Then who did? She looked at me hard, and I didn't answer, but something in my face told her. You know what's funny? My mom described the driver 3 times, and I told them
okay.
I wasn't a teenager. Nobody listened to either of us. 2 people telling the truth, and nobody believed us because it was easier to believe the lie. She shifted her weight to her good leg and looked at Gerald buzzing on my ankle.
अभी
He
देखो.
took my running career. He took your freedom. Same man, same man. So what are we going to do about it? I looked at the fence between us, her on the free side, me on the prison side, and Gerald humming at the boundary like a warning to both of us. That night, Dad sat me at the kitchen table with a script written in his handwriting. "Read this." He made me stand and deliver it. "Stand straight, don't fidget." He adjusted my posture, tilted my chin up, pushed my shoulders back, positioned me like a mannequin.
Okay,
I
let's
lost
go.
control of the vehicle. I panicked and drove away. I am deeply ashamed of my actions, and I accept full responsibility. Again, slowly, more remorse. He put his hand on my chest to control my breathing pace. Feel it here. His palm was warm
आठ
against
हो
my
गए.
sternum. The last time he touched my
How
chest,
the
he was
hell
pinning me
is
to the
here?
floor. Now he was positioning me for a performance. I stood there with his hand on my heart and my fists at my sides and the script in front of me and swallowed the bile rising in my throat. I delivered the words again while He'll say you were driving. I know.
अरे
You
भाई
can't
साहब ये
tell the
क्या है,
judge. He'll
घास
deny
चटनी.
it. I know. So we need the cops to see it for themselves. She looked at Gerald. What happens if you cross the boundary? The monitoring company calls. Then they dispatch police. How fast? 15, 20 minutes. What if you cross the boundary at home? The police come to your house and your dad will lose it trying to stop you. And the cops will see him. The ankle monitor wasn't just my prison. It was an alarm system with a direct line to the police. And the
बहुत
only
मामला
thing I
खराब,
had to
बहुत
do was
मामला
step
खराब रे,
over the
बाप रे
line.
बाप.
I spent 6 months measuring. I looked at Nessa standing on the free side of the boundary, shifting her weight on the leg that would never work right. And she was the girl my father's car
Finally.
had hit, and she was helping me escape my father's house. Tomorrow night, before the hearing, bring your mom. She nodded. We'll be outside. She turned to leave and stopped. For what it's worth, I knew it wasn't you. From the first time I saw you in the cafeteria. How? Because you looked at me like you were sorry. And the person who hit me didn't stop long enough to be sorry about anything. She walked away, and her limp caught the streetlight. And I watched her go, and Gerald buzzed at my ankle. And I was standing on the prison side of a fence, talking to the girl who was going to set me free. Tomorrow morning, the judge decided everything. And Dad was calm, running through the script one final time. You say you're sorry. You accept responsibility. I looked at Gerald on my ankle, steady green light, and through the window, I could see Nessa's mom's car pull into the street and park with the headlights off. I know it was you. Dad's hand froze on his coffee mug. I know you were driving. I know you were dressed when the cops came. I know about the tattoo. The mug shook in his hand. And Nessa's mother is outside. I walked toward the front door, and my dad grabbed the back of my shirt. Don't. I pulled free and kept walking. I opened the door and stepped over the threshold, and Gerald screamed, a piercing electronic shriek that cut through the neighborhood, and I stood on the porch with the alarm blaring, and my father in the doorway behind me. Get back inside. No. Get back inside right now. No, Dad. He lunged. His hands locked onto my shoulders, and he
Okay.
dragged me backwards through the doorway, my shoes scraping across the threshold. I grabbed the door frame with both hands, and the wood groaned under my grip, and for 3 seconds we were frozen there. Him pulling, me holding, Gerald shrieking between us. He pried my right hand off one finger at a time. I grabbed the frame again with my left. He got both arms around my waist and heaved, and my fingers peeled off the wood, and we flew backward into the living room. The coffee table caught us. We hit it together, and it didn't break so much as collapse. The legs folding outward, the surface splitting down the middle. The tools from the bookshelf project scattered across the floor. The hammer and the nails and the screwdriver we passed back and forth 3 nights ago while we laughed. Gerald screamed through all of it. He pinned me on my back, his knee pressed into my chest, and his
Okay,
hand
तो
clamped
क्या
over
कर
my
सकते हैं
mouth,
हम?
and the carpet burned under my shoulders, and I could see the ceiling fan spinning above his head, slow and calm, while everything underneath it was chaos. Shut up and listen to me. His palm was hot and tight against my face, and I opened my jaw and bit down on the meat of his hand, and he yanked it back with a sound I'd never heard my father make. I screamed it.
अरे डॉग्स तो बड़े सही है. बाकी बताओ. All right, so okay, welcome to the stream. 3 ला मुझे. अच्छा, 2 एक एक खा ले, एक एक खा ले. और बाकी गाइस कुछ बोलो यार. ये एक पर्सन है, कुछ तो बोलो भाई. मतलब क्या कुछ चैलेंज या कुछ बताओ, गाइड करो मेरे को अगर माइनक्राफ्ट में कुछ पता है. या एटलीस्ट एक नाम ही बता दो भाई. एक वुल्फ का है, तीनों वुल्फ का क्या नाम रखूँ मैं?
Through every window in the house. He did it. Check his arm. Outside, Nessa and her mother were pounding on the front door. Gerald was still shrieking when Dad grabbed my ankle, the one with the monitor, and started dragging me across the carpet toward the back of the house. The rug burned under my shoulders, and I could see the ceiling sliding past above me, the hallway light, then the kitchen light, and I kicked. My foot connected with nothing. I kicked again and hit his forearm, and his grip slipped for a second. I flipped onto my stomach and scrambled toward the front door on my hands and knees. He caught my leg again. I kicked backward with everything I had, and my heel connected with his chest, and he fell backward into the wreckage of the coffee table. I crawled to the door and reached for the handle. The door burst open from the outside. Nessa's mother stood in the doorway with the porch light behind her, breathing hard from the kick. She saw a grown man on the floor with his sleeve rolled up, a teenager on the carpet with an ankle monitor screaming, and carpet burns on his shoulders. She looked at my father's forearm, the tattoo on his forearm, dark and unmistakable, and the beard he'd shaved 6 months ago had grown back in patches along his jaw. Her whole body went rigid, and she pointed at him with a shaking hand. That's him. That's the man who hit my daughter. Nessa stepped through the door behind her mother and looked at me on the floor and looked at my father by the broken table, and her face held steady because she'd known this was coming, and she'd driven here to see it. The police arrived 90 seconds later to find the victim's mother pointing at the real driver, a teenager on the carpet with a screaming ankle monitor, and a man with a tattoo on his forearm trying to stand up from a broken car.
ओ एक और कुत्ता आ गया, एक और कुत्ता मिल गया। आज तो बेटा पूरी बहुत सार मचेगी।
Nessa stepped forward. I saw the car that hit me. It wasn't driven by a teenager. The cop looked at my dad's arm. Sir, I need you to stand up. They cuffed him.
Aha.
Next to the bookshelf we'd rebuilt together. Next to the tools we'd passed back and forth. Next to the spot where
Hey,
he threw a
buddy.
wood chip at my head, and we'd laughed. I lay on the floor gasping and pulled up my pant leg
Aja.
and looked at Gerald. Green light flashing, still
ओए
screaming.
एक और कुत्ता, एक और कुत्ता मिल गया।
They walked Dad out through the front door. He stopped next to me and looked down at me on the carpet. I did this for us. You did this for you. The door closed behind me.
अरे
I sat in the living room with the broken coffee table and the scattered tools. Nessa's mother stood in the doorway with tears running down her face. She described the driver 3 times. Nobody listened, and tonight she stood in front of him and pointed and was
ओके एक और मिल गया कुत्ता।
Nessa sat down on the floor next to me.
I have a
Neither
full
of us said
variation.
anything for a long time. Are you okay? No. Yeah, me neither. She paused. You bought a brownie at my bake sale. Yeah. Everyone told me you were a monster for showing up, but you were the only person who bought something and didn't say you were sorry. I couldn't say I was sorry for something I didn't do. I know that now. She looked at the house. For what it's worth, I hated that bake sale. Having your face on a poster while people buy cookies because they feel bad for you is its own kind of prison. Gerald was still beeping on my ankle. Quieter now. The alarm winding down to a hum, and the house was so empty I could hear the refrigerator.
I have so many dogs.
on the wall ticking, and
So
the
many
absence
dogs.
of the voice that used to fill
मतलब मुझे कोई एक मारने आएगा और उसके चिथड़े उड़ जाएंगे अब।
the wall with one nail sticking out where I'd missed. I stared at the bookshelf, then the scattered tools, then the broken table. The two of us sat in my father's house surrounded by the wreckage of the only family I'd ever had. The hearing happened the next morning, but it was different now. The judge had the police report, the trigger event, my father's arrest. She looked at me across the courtroom. It's my understanding that new evidence has come to light regarding the original conviction. I nodded. She looked at Gerald on my ankle, the steady green light I'd
ओए
seen
ये
for
कहाँ से
6
खड़ा हो गया?
months. Remove it. A technician knelt and unstrapped the device, and I felt the air on my bare ankle for the
अबे
first time
अच्छा।
in months, and it was lighter than I remembered a leg feeling. I walked out of the courthouse, and Nessa was sitting on the front steps with her bad leg stretched out in front of her. She looked at my ankle, bare and pale from months under the strap. She didn't say anything because she didn't have to. I sat beside her, and we watched people walk past on the sidewalk. People who could go anywhere they wanted without a beat or a boundary, or a man in the next room deciding how far they could go. What are you going to do now? Walk somewhere far. How far? I don't know. I haven't been able to go more than 40 steps in any direction for 6 months. She stood up and held out her hand. Let's find out. We walked down the courthouse steps together, the boy without the monitor and the girl with the limp, and we kept walking.
खत्म। हाँ भाई। टाइम कितना हो रहा है यार? अच्छा 9:23 हो रहे हैं। 9:23 डैम। बहुत ज़्यादा लेट हो गए रे। मैं ऐसा तो है नहीं मैंने कुछ ज़्यादा खेल लिया हो। अभी तक मैंने पर्ल्स कलेक्ट करे नहीं है उसने, पर यार अभी बस थोड़ा सा और कलेक्ट करूँगा तो हो जाएगा काम। चलो नेदर चलते हैं वहाँ। अरे
अभी खा रहा हूँ।
Let's go back to the nether. मुझे लगता है नहीं जो एक बंदा है ना साइलेंट व्यूअर है। अरे बहुत से लोग सोचते होंगे पहले मैं इस चैनल पे शॉर्ट्स डालता था। ओ भाई साहब क्या तगड़ा मारा है। तो बहुत से लोग कुछ लोग सोच रहे होंगे कि मैंने स्ट्रीम इतना ज़्यादा क्यों करने लग गया। तो द रीज़न इज़ इट्स मोर कन्वीनियंट कि मैं मन चाह तो मैं माइनक्राफ्ट का कभी स्ट्रीम कर सकता हूँ, चैलेंजेस ले सकता हूँ विदाउट थिंकिंग कि ओ नो अब मुझे इतने टाइम पे अपलोड करना है, ओ नो मुझे इस टाइम पे ये करना है। नहीं, वो दिक्कत नहीं मेरे को अभी। इट्स लाइक हाँ टाइम आ चुका है, अपलोड स्ट्रीम कर लेते हैं। इट्स मोर अनफिल्टर्ड, तो वो ज़्यादा बेटर रहता है कि हाँ चलो यहाँ पे एकदम फ्री है। अरे भाई मार कैसे दिया? इतना गंदा कैसे सूद दिया भाई मेरे को? हाँ ये कहाँ गया? अच्छा मे बी वापस चला गया होगा ना। हाँ चलो बंदे भी कल। हाँ
मेरे लैपटॉप का क्या हुआ?
भाई मैं बोला तो है अतुल अंकल को कि आ जाएंगे।
भाई कह रहे थे
हाँ
लो पापा का कह रहे हैं।
अरे बारिश हुई थी कुछ टाइम से और उसके बाद
ठीक है दोस्तों के साथ सही होगा, सीख के आओ ना, देख के आओ, कोई बात नहीं।
मुझे कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, मुझे कोई दिक्कत नहीं, चले जाऊंगा मैं
चले जाओ
अगर।
दोस्तों के साथ, कल चले जाओ।
चलो ठीक है, कल नहीं, कल होता है तो मैं चले जाता, छुट्टी होता है दोस्तों का।
चलो ओके फिर।
ठीक है ये बात कर। अच्छा इससे बैडमिंटन खेलूँ क्या ऐसे? आजा। ओ आजा। नहीं आना, भाग गई डरपोक। लल थोड़ा सा वियर्ड लग रहा है अकेले बात कर करके, क्योंकि एक व्यूअर जो है कुछ बोल नहीं रहा है। Like genuinely I'm trying my best to talk with him, but him or her or whoever is he him.
ओके मैं एक्स टूट गया, सौ टूट गया। Okay, now I'm finding it a bit boring. Psych. Lol. Lol. बकलोली का शिकार। तेरी आंख में देखूंगा क्या कर लेगा तू। हाँ चोमू चमन सिंह कहाँ है तू? ओके सॉरी सॉरी भाई, ऑफेंड हो गया यार। ओके चलो छोड़ो, इनफ मेकिंग फन। चलो तो फिर या आज के लिए बस इतना ही। आज की स्ट्रीम बस इतनी रखते हैं, ज़्यादा नहीं, क्योंकि यहाँ लिटरली अब कुछ नहीं बचा स्ट्रीम में करने को। So I'll see you in the next live stream. Till then, bye bye.